In this video, I'm going to show you how to find your first job as a web developer on Upwork. I'm going to show you the easiest way to find your first job. There's many ways to find your first job on Upwork, but the easiest strategy is the one I'm about to share with you right now. I've been freelancing since 2018, and by far this is the most approachable and easy way to find your first job as a web developer, and I wish I knew how to do that when I started. So the way that you find jobs really easily on Upwork, especially as a new account with no 5-star reviews or nothing, is that you want, first of all, to not have too much competition at the point where you are applying to a job. For example, you don't want to be the only person with a new profile that has no reviews on it when you're competing with another 10 people who have already applied to the job. So the first thing is that you want to apply to jobs that don't have too many other people, so that you increase the chance that they decide to check your profile and even check that you're good despite the fact that you don't have experience on the platform. And the way you do that is by applying to jobs where there's not too many people who've applied to it. But a lot of jobs where you apply to them are jobs that, jobs there where there's not too many people who have offered their services to that client, are jobs that they're not really good jobs. So what you want is to find good jobs that don't have a lot of people who've applied to that job. And the problem with that is that if you just find any jobs that don't have a lot of people who've applied yet, is just a question of time before a lot of other people are going to apply. So what you want to find is jobs where the client is going to hire right now before they give a chance to other people to send proposals and give them a job. There's no way to know for sure that a job the client is going to decide to hire someone right away, but there's ways to increase the chance that if you send a proposal that they're going to look at your profile right away and give you the job right away. So the first thing, of course, you need to have a decent profile, and I've made videos on how to make a decent profile on Upwork. I've made videos on specifically profile optimization for web developers on Upwork, so absolutely you should go check that out before you attempt the strategy I'm about to share with you. But once you're confident that your profile displays your expertise and shows you in a good way and gives a good impression, now what you want to do is that you want to use the most recent tab here. This page is your homepage on Upwork, and as you can see here, there's the jobs that Upwork recommend that you get right at the bottom here. So what I want to do is I want to look at the tabs here. You see there's best matches, most recent, saved jobs. So you want to click on most recent. So what happens is that a lot of clients, when they go on Upwork, they create a job posting, and after they create the job post, oftentimes they're still on Upwork for a couple of minutes, or they're still thinking about that job for a couple of minutes or up to an hour. And what happens is that sometimes when you send a proposal quickly to a job, what happens is that the client is still on the platform, or they have their notifications on and they're still thinking about that project. They're not too busy. And so what's going to happen is that if you send a good proposal, they might look at it right away and decide that you look competent enough, and they might decide that it's easier for them to just give you the job right away, get the process of choosing the freelancer over with, so that they can focus on other things. So what you want to do is that you want to be able to send a proposal very quickly to some of those most recent jobs, and make sure that your proposal is sent quickly, but also that your proposal is pretty good. I'm going to share with you a simple method for building a proposal. I'm going to give you the overall structure that you can use to build a proposal pretty quickly, and also how to use ChatGPT to help you with that. But let's say what you want to do is that you want to look at all the jobs that were just posted. So for example, there's this job that was posted 10 minutes ago. So they need an experienced web designer for a landing page. So let's say that that's what you want to do. Let's say you're a web developer who can also do web design. Sometimes they say web designer, but here they say key skills needed, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So they're saying web designer, but actually what they're saying is web designer / web developer. So sometimes you need to look at these web designer jobs jobs that are actually web developer jobs, because maybe you're the exact person that they're looking for, but sometimes clients use different terms to refer to the things compared to the terms that we use ourselves as the expert in the industry. So for example, for me, like someone who does HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is more like a web developer in my experience, but the client calls that a web designer. Web developers can be also web designers, but they're different things. So what you want to do is, once you found a job that was posted not long ago, like first thing, like you don't want to spend all your day on Upwork just waiting and looking at jobs. Like you could do that, but at that point, is it really the easiest way to find jobs? Like it's time consuming, it's annoying. I don't recommend doing that, but what I like doing is that I know that I have a lot of activities in my life where there's natural breaks. For example, maybe I like playing Street Fighter 6 online, or maybe League of Legends. And so these games, you can play a game and then spend a minute or two looking at Upwork, and then if there's no new jobs that look worth applying to, well, just go play another game. Or if you like watching TV, maybe you like watching Family Guy or whatever else with your girlfriend or by yourself. Like after every episode, there's nothing wrong with just opening Upwork for a minute or two, just looking if there's new jobs that are worth applying to, and then just apply to jobs. Like spend like 5 minutes sending a proposal if there's a new job that looks interesting to you, and then move on with your life. Go back to watching your TV show or playing video games. And if a client is going to answer right away, well, you're going to get a notification on your phone, and then you can stop playing Street Fighter quickly, or pause your TV show to answer to the client. Like obviously, I don't recommend playing like League of Legends competitively, where you people are going to be expecting a huge amount of focus for you, but you can play games offline or different activities that can allow you to be able to pause without problem. So that's one thing that I recommend doing. Once you found these jobs, like you want to click on the job. There's the Apply Now button at the top right. You want to click on that. So the first thing that you want to know about, well, I'm just going to go through the whole proposal process and go through it. It's very simple. So first thing, like 11 connects, that's what it costs. So what are connects? Those are the premium currency on Upwork that you need to be able to apply to jobs. It's really not that expensive, but you can expect that it's going to cost you like $1 or $2 to apply to a job. That's just the way it is. So job details. So this is really important. So what I want to do is I want to copy all of this to be able to create a proposal quickly. I'm going to copy all of that information, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open ChatGPT or any different AI chatbot that you like. So what I like doing is that I want to ask the AI to summarize the things that this client on Upwork is looking for in this job post. So here I'm just going to copy and paste all the rest of the text that I've found on on the job post. So what you want to do is look at all these different things that the client says they're looking for. Like, you could look at all the job description, but there's a lot of time that can be wasted there, and some of these job descriptions are very long, and sometimes you read a long job description and try to build a really good proposal and really try to stand out, and maybe that client, once they have maybe they decide to not hire anyone on Upwork anyway because they change their mind and they decide to work with someone locally. Like maybe it's a huge waste of time for everyone who tried to apply to the job. And typically what I recommend is that you want to read that job description, but after the client has decided to message you. All right? You don't want to waste your time reading a bunch of job descriptions. No, you want to apply to a lot of jobs quickly and then just respond to the ones that decide to answer you. But the thing is that the easiest way to make sure that a client does not message you back, that a client ignores your proposal, the easiest way to get ignored, to waste your time on Upwork, is to send proposals that look like you haven't read the job. Okay, it's the the easiest way to get no response. So you need to make proposals that look like you've read the job, but if you read the job, you waste a lot of time. So here's where AI comes in. So AI has just summarized the important things that I need to know about the job so that I can make a good proposal that makes it look like I've read the job without having to actually spend the time doing it. So the first thing is that you want to start your proposal cover letter, which is the section at the bottom here. We're going to go back to that section later, but you want to start it with a sentence that makes it clear that you've actually read the job and that you understand what the client is looking for. And so that's what we're going to use the AI later for. So first, you want to decide like how much you charge for the project. So there's two ways to decide how you do your pricing for your first project. You can either decide to price your project a little bit under the average because you want to find your first project easily, but this can also be a double-edged sword because Upwork has determined that the average client ends up paying more than what the average freelancer offers for the job. So there's a thing to be said about increasing your prices to increase the chance that you get the job, because a lot of clients come to Upwork hoping to get a quality freelancers, and they're afraid that the freelancer might do a bad job, especially in web development, where if you do a bad website, there might be security issues or design issues that make it so the products don't sell. Or maybe, for example, this is a web design job. Maybe if you're not a good designer, if you do a bad job, well, months later when the project is done, they may decide that the website looks bad and makes their company look bad, and so they're not going to be satisfied. So clients are really looking for quality freelancers, especially in web development on Upwork, but not every client. So if you need to figure out a bit when you're doing your pricing strategy whether or not it's better to charge low or charge high. But in my opinion, for web developer, for different fields you can decide to charge low, but for web development, I recommend you charge either average or a little bit under average, because you do have a profile that doesn't have reviews, but at the same time, if you charge too low, you're just going to have the same pricing as everybody else who doesn't know how to market. And most developers on Upwork, there's the developers who know how to market and they are actually charging the amounts of money that clients are willing to pay. And so these are better at finding jobs. But the problem is that if you have a profile that looks bad, you can't use that strategy effectively. So you want to go check my video on how to optimize your profile as a web developer so that you have a profile that is congruent with a good high hourly rate, which is what the clients are looking to pay for. And if you want to know, like, a lot of people are like, how can I charge like $40 an hour, $32 an hour, that high amount of money when as a beginner, sometimes the best jobs that you can get are half the amount of money, or maybe are lower than that amount of money. Well, the thing is that as a freelancer, you're not competing with employees, you're competing with businesses, agencies. And so what you need to understand is if you're working in a normal job as a web developer in an agency, in your local agency, well, for your boss to be able to pay you a certain amount of money, he needs to be able to get paid more than that amount of money by their clients so that they have profit. And as a freelancer, you basically don't have a boss. So you can sell your services at the same price that your boss sells their services to the clients, because those are your direct competitors. And if you're offering the same level of quality, well, you can do that. So a lot of you might feel like the hourly rates that are recommended might be too high, but this is just psychological because you're used to getting paid the amounts of money for employees, but now you're not an employee anymore, you're a freelancer. So yeah. But at the same time, you do get all the risk that an entrepreneur has. Like if the project doesn't work, if you might have to deal with payment disputes, you might have to deal with refunds and that sort of thing. So it justifies why you get paid more money. But your boss is typically like end up making more money than employees. Like it's still worth it financially, and it's rare that you do get these payment disputes and things, but it still happens. You need to be aware of it. So let's say I'm going to do by project, and for me, a website is usually something around $3,000. I should have read it to really see what they're looking for, but just based on the title, like it's just a landing page. All right, landing page. Let's do 2,000. So let's do that. How long will this project take? I guess about 3 to 6 months. Let's do this quickly. So, cover letter, you want to start with a sentence that demonstrates that you've actually read the proposal. So what I do is that I just look at all the list of the things that ChatGPT has said that the client is looking for in their job description. So let's see. Okay, they need someone with knowledge of SEO best practices. They need someone who has strong graphic design and layout skills, experience with responsive design. Okay, so what you want to do is look at all these things and you want to filter them out and try to get, you want to remove all the options that you can't do. So for example, if I'm not an expert in SEO, I'm not going to start with that. However, if I want to start by saying, hey, I see that you're looking for someone who's good at HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, well, those are not things that are really rare among developers. So if I start by saying, hey, you should hire me because I can do HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, like that's so basic that you're not going to stand out saying that. So what you want to start is one of those that is actually congruent with you. For example, yes, I do have strong graphic design and layout skills. So you want to start by using the thing that can make you stand out the most that actually is true for you. So what I would do is I would just start like, hey, I see that you are looking for someone with strong graphic design and layout skills. Just copied and pasted it. So the client reads that and he's like, okay, that guy understands what I'm looking for. And he starts with that. So you just stand out and give a really good professional impression just starting out. So what you want to start doing then is that you want to list a list of different projects that you've worked on that were similar to that project. So for example, you can say like, I've worked on many similar projects to this. For example, I've read on the job title that it's landing page. So what I can do is just make a bullet point format with just a title. Let's say like a landing page for a gym. And then you do the same for all the other ones. And then you create parentheses, and in parentheses, you put a link where they can see that project. So, the first thing you want to do is demonstrate that you have actually read the job post. Even if you haven't, you need to look like you have. Then what you need to do is include proof that you're competent. So one of the easiest ways to include proof is by just sharing some of your previous work. So some of you're new developers and you're new to Upwork. You're not experienced developers, so you don't have a portfolio. You don't have past work experience. Well, one of the things you can do is just take projects that you built without getting paid, like projects that you did while you were learning, and you can use them in your proposal to demonstrate that you have experience. It doesn't matter if it's projects that you haven't paid for or not paid for. If it's relevant, you can put that there. Otherwise, if you don't have that, you can include proof of your skill by just giving recommendations to the client. So this is going to require you to read the job posting a little bit more, but for example, like here, it's saying that they're searching for an experienced web designer, visually appealing and simple, user-friendly landing page. All right, so what I can say is, hey, because it's 2024, you might be interested in a sales page of one of these two different visual styles because these have been demonstrated by X website or X study to be the most effective or popular right now. And I'm actually proficient in both, so I can look with you with your brand what is more relevant to you and say something like that where you have recommendations that are actually feel relevant to the client and demonstrate that you actually know what you're talking about, despite the fact that you have a new profile that doesn't necessarily have relevant portfolio items that you can share. So you demonstrate your proof with that. So let's say like I have a couple of lines where I've demonstrated my proof of skill. And then you want to end the portfolio by either doing two things. So one of the things you can do is you ask a question that's really simple about the project that the client can answer really quickly. But it needs to not be a question that makes you look stupid. And it needs to be a question that isn't already answered in the job description, because then you're going to look stupid. So you want to ask a question that can be answered easily, but that still makes you seem competent and professional. If you can think of one really quickly, you can ask it right there. And what happens is that when it's a quick question that's easy to answer, there's a higher likelihood that the client answers you right away after you send your proposal, before they even check at other people's profile, because it's easy for them to answer. So they might as well respond right away instead of forgetting it. And then you can keep talking with the client until they just see that you're competent enough and decide that it's not worth it for them to waste their time looking for other freelancers when clearly you're doing the job. You're going to do the job well. So that's one thing you can do. But alternatively, you can just end the proposal with something generic like, hey, let me know when you'd be available for a call to discuss it further. Like, really simple. And then once you're done, you can just skip the rest. Profile highlights is a really good thing that you can do. If you have actually your portfolio, projects in your portfolio that are relevant, you want to click on this button. This is a new profile that doesn't have anything, so I can do that, but you can actually link some of your portfolio or certificates if you have some that are relevant to that job to further make you seem more qualified, and then you can click on submit a proposal at the bottom left. It's really not that hard, but learning to build proposals quickly that still follow a format that has been proven to be effective, that's a really good way to do it. And in my opinion, well, it's not really an opinion, but the thing is, one of the biggest agencies on Upwork, Codemotion, have determined that if they send a proposal to a job within 15 minutes after it came out, their chance of getting the job almost doubled. So for us, obviously we can't have a lot of staff looking at Upwork 24/7 to be able to apply to jobs really quick. But what we can do is that we can still connect to Upwork more often than other people, allowing us to respond still quicker than most other agencies or freelancers, giving us these opportunities to get these easy jobs that just came out, and where the client will find it easier to just give you the job right away and stop having to think about it than just waiting and procrastinating and then having to look at a list of different profiles to look at of different freelancers who applied. So yeah, try this out. Let me know how it went. And with that, subscribe for more content on how to be successful as a freelancer, and I'll see you in my next videos. Take care.